Hey everyone, it's another edition of Unbreakable, and I'm Greg. In case this is your first time finding me, I'm Greg, and I have a sort of a daily podcast uh, where I try to spread a little hope and inspiration around the world. Uh, some laughs, bring some interesting uh, news stuff, what's in the news. Nothing too serious. I don't get into politics or anything like that, but just some interesting stuff for about 15 minutes or so. And hopefully someone else out there will get a smile or two. Anyway, um, today happens to be Thursday, September 28th. Hard to believe that September is almost over, isn't it? Just seems like Labor Day was just here. Summer ended. Here we are, almost in October already. Time goes so fast. I tell you, a couple of things I want to talk about before I get to the main topic today. Yesterday we were talking about the advances in artificial intelligence and the fact that we think of AI perhaps helping us in the future with, computers and electronic technology. What we never thought of, which I never thought of till I read about this the other day, was AI is going to help us communicate with animals. There's so much advancement. The scientists are actually working on uh, having AI help us to translate what animals are trying to tell us, um, helping us understand animals better, communicate with them. Uh, wouldn't that be cool? To me, that would be the breakthrough of my life. I mean, you know, I've we've seen the internet, right? We've seen cell phones. We've seen so much new technology come on the scene just in the past 20, 30 years, right? Wouldn't it be amazing if we were able to communicate to our pets? Uh, that got me thinking. Just think of it. Just think. Maybe you had a hard day at work and you come home and you flop yourself down in your chair and your pet cat, jumps up on your lap and curls up in a ball and sits down in your lap. And you start to talk to the cat. Let's say the cat's name is Kitty. Heard you. Say, oh, Kitty, I had a hell of a day today. Boy, was I busy. I'll tell you what, first of all, the copy machine broke down. I had to fix it. Then I went in to talk to the boss and asked for a raise, and he told me go to hell. And then, I spilled coffee all over my dress shirt and my tie. And I peed my pants today. And there were all kinds of stuff. Boy, did I have a lousy day. Kitty says, talk about a little ago. I didn't want to have a day. I coughed up a fur ball. Coughed up a fur ball. That's a lousy day. Anyway, so it's possible. It's possible. They're getting very close to a breakthrough, decoding the language of animals. So more on this later. I'm fascinated by this topic, and uh, I hope we hear more about it down the road. Hey, did you hear about this Taylor Swift, Travis Kelsey BS? Oh, Jesus. Well, unless you've been living under a rock, it looks like Taylor Swift, Travis Kelsey, the tight end of the Kansas City Chiefs, have hooked up. He saw her in concert at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, and he wanted to give her a friendship bracelet. And he put the word out on social media that he wanted to beat her. Well, it just so happened she was at his game last Sunday in Arrowhead, watched him score a touchdown. And then after the game, they went out together. From what I read, he had his convertible down. They went to a restaurant with a bunch of friends and other players. And so that let's see what happens. Sunday, the Chiefs happening to be playing NBC got really lucky. The Chiefs happened to be playing the Jets. Sunday Night Football, 8/20/25, um, playing the Jets up in New York. And guess who said she's going to be there? You got it. Taylor Swift herself is going to be there. Maybe she'll be set next to Kelsey Bob again in the box, and she'll score when he cheer when he scores on the field. That is. Anyway, so boy, NBC is going to get great ratings. Uh, I don't think it's going to be a good football game because the Chiefs are so much better than the Jets, but people are going to tune in just to see I wonder what the over under is for how many times the camera's going to show Taylor Swift. Over 50? Over 25? I don't know. But you got to know NBC, unless they're stupid, has to know. That's why a lot of people are tuning in, especially Swifties, to see Taylor Swift. So they're going to be showing her every reaction, especially when her boy Travis touches the ball. And I would bet, if I was a betting man, I would bet that he scores another touchdown, especially on national TV with Taylor Swift there and watching him. Ugh. So that's the next thing. So, to me, it's no big deal. I don't know why I'm talking about it now. Maybe because it's in the news. It's a news topic, and that's what I do. But you know, I mean, God bless them. I hope they get along. I hope eventually maybe they'll get married and have children, and but it's none of my business. I don't. People are taking it too seriously. They're not actually getting mad. Like some of the politicians are calling her dumb, and she is registering or encouraging a lot of young people to go out and vote, and that's good. That's good for both parties. That's good that people go out and exercise their right to vote. But I don't know. I mean, it can't be a bad thing for her. It's PR, right? There's a lot of free publicity out there for Taylor Swift. She's on hiatus of her tour, and she's getting all this publicity, and so is he. Uh, Sales of his jersey have gone up 400% since he started hanging around with Taylor Swift. So God bless him, right? That's all I gotta say. So we'll see what happens on Sunday. Yeah, that'll be very interesting. Um, so one thing came on the news yesterday was I don't know how to take this. So I'm gonna lay it out to you guys and see what you think. Well, we know how popular the movie Barbie has been, right? It was the hit of the summer, and it's still a big hit, and it made all this money, and all around the world, and people are just crazy for Barbie, which is okay. That's good. Um, but what's happening, an offshoot of the movie, is that they're finding that young girls, or especially young women or older women even, are getting new Barbie dolls because of this movie. Either they buy them themselves, or they're giving someone's giving them presents, birthday Barbie. Mattel is making tons of money off of this, and you can imagine this Christmas. There's always a hot toy for Christmas, a pet rock, a Rubik's cube, always a hot toy, Beanie Babies. I bet you this Christmas sales for Barbies are going to go skyrocket. Well, the reason they're doing this is because women in particular, older women, say getting the Barbie, they saw the movie, they love the movie, and getting a Barbie, it kind of puts them in touch with their younger self. So psychologists say this is a good thing. Maybe if someone's depressed, they get a Barbie and they can dress it, play with its hair, fix it up, whatever, make it walk. And it makes them feel good. It makes them feel like when they were a kid. right? When a good time in her life when they used to have Barbies. Um, so that's like the newest thing that I saw on TV, and that's good. Whatever makes you happy, right? It's just it's interesting offshoot of this movie that's happening in real life, you know, and I mean that's what's happening if uh, someone doesn't want to get their own Barbie if they feel a little weird about it, you know, they're getting presents. Their younger daughters are giving them Barbies, and so that's what's going on. So that may be a good idea, a gift idea for mom and grandma around Christmas time. It's coming up. I'm just saying, but just make sure that they had a good relationship with Barbie because, God forbid, if they had a Barbie back in the day and maybe its head fell off or the dog took it and buried it in the yard or something, I don't know. Uh, Maybe that's not a good thing to bring up those bad memories. But I'm sure most people had fond memories of Barbie, and it took them back to their childhood. That may be another good thing. We talked about Barbies. We talked about AI, and that makes me think back to like the 70s and 80s again. And with this resurgence of Barbie and people getting in touch with their younger selves, uh, I mean, I guess I'm just pretty much the same thing. Look at the the rage now is the 80s. We look at the 80s, that people look at the 80s now like we looked when we were growing up to the 50s. The 50s were this magical time, music, clothes, dress, Elvis, uh, Leave It to Beaver. The 50s were this glorious time. And even like the movie like Back to the Future went back to the 50s. Um, I think people nowadays are being very nostalgic about the 80s. If you are over, like, let's say 30 years old, then you remember the 80s. Uh, if you're under, you don't. And I think in both ways, people who are younger than 30 are hearing about the 80s, the great music, Madonna, Michael Jackson, Prince, uh, and the hairstyles, you know, uh, the TV shows, Dallas, the movies. Uh, it was, to me, it was a great time to be alive. I love the 80s. It was a fun time to party. There were so many different personalities around. Remember Princess Diana, uh, Pope John Paul II, uh, Mother Teresa, I Ronald Reagan. I mean, there were these larger than life people around, and they still are now, but I'm just talking about the 80s. And Prince, like we said, Prince, um, larger than life people. And it was just a fascinating, to me, it was a fascinating decade. The 60s were turbulent, very turbulent with the Vietnam War, uh, things going on in the 60s, JFK assassination. 70s to me were sort of a goofy time, and fashion, music was just sort of uncertain. We were sort of caught in the void between classic rock and then came disco later in the decade. Uh, so to me, the 80s sort of got back to normal, only on a larger scale. You know, I mean, the 80s brought back more rock music and the fashion sort of, you didn't have these leisure suits or these, yeah. Uh, the 80s were like the big hair, and I don't know. It was just a fun time to be alive. So no wonder people are. nostalgic for the 80s and for Barbie and for, things like that. Part of my book, Unbreakable Spirit, not only talks about my life with osteogenesis imperfecta, brittle bones, and how unique that was, but it also chronicles a time that's you might be interested in. A lot of it is set in the 80s. Um, it was a time before the Americans with Disability Act, when there weren't as many cut curbs and ramps around, buildings weren't as accessible. Uh, it was a tough time. If you got around in a wheelchair like I did, it was a tough time because it was just hard to get around, really. It was really odd living in that world where everybody else had the freedom to go wherever they wanted to go. But people in wheelchairs couldn't. You were stuck on your block if you didn't have a ramp. You can't get around. Um, so the book is partly about that. And it's also about uh, a topic we've been talking about on here for the last couple of days, interabled relationships. That means you have one person who has a disability and one person who doesn't. And they're either in friendship, relationship, marriage, dating, whatever. And it's very interesting too. And that's in my book. It's about the past interabled relationships I had growing up, uh, ones that worked and ones that didn't work. And so when you look at it that way, my story, even though it may just seem a story of one guy with this rare genetic disease, how he made it through life to be what they say is the oldest guy around with OI. It's more than that. It's a more of a sweeping story. So I hope you'll check it out. It's called An Unbreakable Spirit, and it's on Amazon. So, all right, well, that's it for today. Uh, I hope you guys have a great day, and I enjoyed seeing you guys again and talking to you. And looks like we're going to go get more rain here in Pennsylvania, as if we haven't had enough. We had like 5 days worth of rain from last Friday until Wednesday. And tomorrow, Friday, we're going to get more rain for about 2 days. But at least it's supposed to clear up for Sunday. Sunday's going to be 78 and sunny. Perfect weather for the Eagles. Go Birds. Playing the Washington Commanders, whatever their name is now, Redskins, Commies, whatever. And I'm going to be there, Lord willing, as long as I don't get another fracture. I'm going to be there. So it should be fun. And it's going to be great weather. Next week here, it's going to be in the 80s, a little taste of Indian summer. We can go out, open our windows again, barbecue, whatever. So stuff to look forward to. You always have to have stuff to look forward to in life, It keeps you going. So, all right there. Take care. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you again, hopefully tomorrow, on All Unbreakable Spirits. See you later. Bye-bye.